is the plaintiff, Andrea Moore. She says she rented an illegal apartment from the defendant, and he gave her only 72 hours to vacate. The louse even turned off her electricity, ruining a full refrigerator worth of food. He thinks he's above the long arm of the law, but guess what, buddy? It all stops here and now, because she's suing for $7,463.99, the amount she's due. This is the defendant, Gary Sporline. He says this lawsuit is preposterous. He gave the plaintiff all kinds of leeway when she fell behind on her rent and would also cover her share of the electric bill. Besides, she left a year's worth of trash in the house. Gross. He's accused of lousy landlording. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,790 for late fees incurred and additional expenses.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says, how can a landlord be so cruel as to turn the electricity off and basically ruin all of her food? But the defendant says she's a garden variety deadbeat and a slob to boot. It's the case of, what would Edison say?
Andrea Moore?
Yes.
You are suing your former landlord, Gary Sporline,
Correct.
for $7,463.99 that you say he owes you in expenses as a result of illegally evicting you and renting you an illegal apartment. You are counterclaiming against her $1,790 in late fees, electric bills, stealing your trailer, and garbage cleanup. Okay, let the fun begin.
Yeah, tell me about it.
How long were you living where you were living?
About a year.
A year. And what kind of place was that?
It was an apartment attached to a house.
Okay. How was it attached?
There was
Trying to imagine it.
They shared a wall.
Okay.
And a lot of the electricity went, like there were breakers in the neighbor's house that worked in my house that shut off the power in my house.
When you say the neighbors, you're talking about him?
No, there was separate tenants.
Okay.
On the
and
other side.
Does he live there at all?
No.
Okay.
He did before.
Now, did you know him before you started renting there?
I did. I knew his girlfriend.
Okay. And then how did you find out about the apartment?
Through his girlfriend and him. They were actually my friends.
They were your friends?
Yeah.
Okay. So you start renting the place, and when do the problems begin?
Okay, well, I have a pattern of paying Gary kind of when I get my school money because I'm a student.
Right.
And I was back in rent. And so I was going to pay him when I got my financial aid disbursement.
How back were you in rent?
3 months.
3 months?
Yeah. At that
And
time.
when you say you have a pattern, is that something he agreed to?
It was never, it really hasn't been a huge problem between us because I've always caught up.
Okay, because you used the phrase in your complaint, and I don't want to misquote you, so I'm going to read it exactly the way you stated it. The defendant and I were both students, so it was kind of understood that I would sometimes fall behind in rent.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
You think that's an overreaching on your part to say that because it wasn't understood? He did not approve of you falling behind in rent, or it was something he allowed?
I think it was something that he
Did you
knew.
did you envision that because she's a student, she wouldn't pay rent in 3 months?
I did take that into consideration, and what had happened was I paid the rent. My father, who under scrutiny did not want me to do that, but I did that because she's a student and I know where she's coming from. I know.
So you would pay her rent and have no problem with it?
Well, because I knew that when she got her school money, that I would get paid back.
So when she got her school money, did you get paid back?
Not the final time.
No. So at the final time, she was behind in rent how many months?
3 months.
All right. And then what happens?
School loans came out. I didn't receive a call from her, nothing. So I called her up. I said, hey, if we could meet up, I'd like to get some of the power money and the rent money. And she had told me that she received a letter from the city saying that the place wasn't up to code and that she had to vacate by July 1st.
Okay. Now that's how you've described it. Not up to code. Let's analyze that 1 second. You received a letter that said what?
That it was an illegal apartment.
Okay, that's a little more than not up to code, right?
That I had to move.
Just a little bit more than not up to code. Not up to code is we have a wire hanging. Illegal apartment means she can't even rent it out. You can't rent it out to her. Which is it?
It was a non-conforming apartment, which...
You can't rent it out. And then the city is forcing you to comply or get fined. And now, what do you do?
So then I tell him that...
I'm not going to pay rent, but I'm also not moving out.
No, I was going to figure out the eviction process. I had met with the school legal aid because at that point I hadn't gotten the eviction notice.
And then you got the eviction notice just how much later after that? Couple days.
Couple days, yeah.
Okay, and so now you get an eviction notice, and what do you do?
A second letter comes from the county saying that there's no immediate danger, but he has to do an electrical inspection on the house and the apartment.
Okay, and you in fact hire somebody to do an electrical inspection.
I did.
And what happened?
Well, he went to the house. I don't know what had happened, but she didn't allow access to that place.
Why didn't you allow the electrician to go in?
Okay, I did. I met with him on Friday. He was going to go and turn my power off, which Gary had already done before. And the neighbors had found, yeah, we skipped ahead a little bit. And so the electrician got in my face, and I told him, you can't turn the power off. That's illegal for Gary to turn the power off. And the electrician got in my face after I told him he couldn't turn off the electricity.
He got in your face and what?
And he said, I'm the electrician. I can do whatever I want.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's his friend. It's his family friend.
Okay.
And so
what you didn't want him to do was what?
Turn off the power
electricity
because
for
I had
what? For a moment or
no,
for
because
eternity?
For eternity. It's off. My daughter and I had to leave. The eviction we hadn't even gone to court.
Did he turn it? Can't you turn it off not from your apartment?
No.
Can't he turn it off from another spot?
No, he did. He flipped it from the switch in the main house, the main breaker.
Right. So then what is it you were stopping him from doing?
I didn't want him to turn off my power because I hadn't even gone through the election or the eviction process.
You're not understanding me. When he leaves, is your power on or off?
Off.
Okay. And then when do you leave?
I leave a couple days later.
Were you without power for those couple of days?
Or not, I'm sorry, not a couple days later. I leave the next day and I came back to get my stuff.
Were you without power until that? Were you without power after that?
From then on.
From then on, there was no power.
Yeah, and I had to.
Did you turn the power off deliberately? Because she accuses you of turning off the power deliberately.
I did on May 1st. I turned the power off.
And why did you turn the power off on May 1st?
Because she did not pay her power bill. No.
There wasn't an outage. You actually turned off the power.
Yeah.
You know you can't do that, right? Do you know that you are a landlord and that you have to abide by the same rules as all other landlords have to abide by? And if someone owes you money, you can't shut off their power. That's illegal.
Listen.
So, you are suing for $4,500 in past rent that you did pay, which you now want back, even though you did live there.
Yes.
Right? Okay. You are suing for the expenses for a new apartment. Why would he have to pay for that for you? You have a month-to-month lease there. You don't even have a lease, right? It's like totally month-to-month. So why would he have to buy you a new apartment?
From what I understood with talking to a lawyer is that because it was an illegal place that I shouldn't have to, I wasn't planning on moving, that I was forced to leave.
Except for that, did that lawyer who you spoke to understand that you have no lease? And when would that ever entitle you to first, last, and security when there's a termination because you're at whim? And then the third thing you're asking for is spoiled food. And that's because he turned off your electricity. You're asking for $200 for spoiled food. Do you have any receipts for the spoiled food?
I don't. I just have the pictures in my refrigerator.
Okay. Can I see the pictures? All right. Now let's hear from you. You are counterclaiming against her $1,790. One of them is 9 months of late fees. Did you not just testify to me that when I was making fun of her for, oh, really, your landlord expected you to be late, and I fully expected your answer to be, don't be ridiculous, Judge. Your answer was, in fact, well, yeah, I knew I had to wait around for, oh, okay. So why would she owe you late fees?
Well, I had asked her, I said, after the first month, she said, it's going to be hard for me to come up with this rent, so can I pay you when we get school money? I said, yes, but I still have to pay the rent. So I'm going to have to charge you $50 a late fee.
Yeah,
she agreed to that.
Did you ever pay a late fee in your life while you were living there?
No.
Did you ever agree that you would be paying late fees?
No.
Okay. Now what do you do? Wait, let me ask you a question. Wait, let me ask you a question. He turned off the electricity the first time on May 1st, but you were there till the 12th. So between the 1st and the 12th, the electricity went back on.
He turned off the power, the electrician turned off the power on the 4th.
Okay, but everybody knows that the power is just turned off, not by something fancy, but by the switch in the neighbor's house, right? So why didn't you just have it turned back on there?
I couldn't because they weren't there.
Because they weren't there. They had cleared already?
Yeah, they were gone.
Okay, so what you did was instead you moved, right?
I had to move into my parents' house.
Okay,
yeah.
And did you bring the food to your parents' house?
No.
Okay, you just left all this food there?
At that point.
Was all that food there when you went in?
Yes.
It was all there when you went in. I keep being surprised by all the answers.
Okay.
So you go in, And she's now gone, right? But the food is there, and other garbage according to you is there. Do you have pictures of the garbage and the cleanup that, according to you, she forced you to do?
I do.
What's all these garbage bags lining the side of your house?
It's because I didn't have garbage service and I couldn't get garbage service because it was already at the house next door and they would only do it to one. Because that apartment doesn't get recognized.
That wasn't a hint to you that maybe you were renting an illegal apartment?
Well, I didn't.
So what did you do for garbage for a year? Just put it next door?
He's hauled it before. I've had somebody else haul it before, and it just sat on the side of the house. It was.
Have you ever hauled her garbage before?
I did.
So you're all big surprised about this, even though this has been going on for a year, the garbage on the side of the house. Gary, talking to you.
I wasn't not aware that the garbage had stacked up that much until she had moved out because I didn't go by the place all the time.
So when you moved out, why didn't you take all this stuff with you? I mean, when you're moving out, do you have no responsibility as a tenant when you're moving out?
No, what I saw on the Oregon laws is that it's his job to provide a trash receptacle.
Honey, he would have to provide 500 trash receptacles.
Well, not if he was taking it every...
Okay, so I'm going to excuse you on 5 of the 40 trash bags of garbage that are on the side of the house. What happens with the rest of them?
But if it would have been the whole time...
Wow. And what is this a picture of?
That's the garbage in the trailer, which I had parked in front of where she was staying at her parents' house.
Wait, back it up. Okay. So what happens when you see all the garbage?
When she moved out, the place looked great, except the refrigerator full of food and the garbage. So I then got a friend of mine, hired him, and we loaded up the trailer, which filled up a big trailer worth of garbage, fighting off rats and just years worth of nasty garbage, you can imagine. And I left it in the trailer for a couple days to cool off.
Roaches exist where you guys live? Like, this
no,
is like,
actually, no, they don't. They don't. I took a picture of a roach on the street last night because it was the first roach I had seen.
First time in New York?
I'm serious. On my camera, I was like, wow, roach.
Honey,
I'm finally seeing a roach.
We got to get you to Miami where we saddle up our roaches. Okay? Saddle them up. Ride them cowboy. All right. So then now you pack all this stuff up and you put it in a trailer. And you take the trailer to her parents' house.
I do, yeah.
And you say what? You knock on the door.
I knock on the door and I say, I brought the rest of your stuff. Because there was a bike and Christmas tree and a table and chairs stuff. And I say, I brought the rest of your stuff. She says, no, that's not mine. I say, well, it's certainly not mine. And I'm not dumping it. You know, you're not going to dump it on my dime. So I say, you could give me $300 and I'll dump it. I'll take it to the dump.
Why is it so expensive?
Labor, time, gas, all that kind of stuff.
Now you're mad and you're just
she'd already stiffed me for the power bill.
What's the actual dump fee?
I'm not sure they do it on,
do you know,
how much.
Do you have a dump fee, proof of a dump fee?
I don't, not with
And
me.
why is that?
Because I didn't take it to dump it.
You didn't? What happened?
No, I didn't take it to dump it.
Okay.
I left the trailer at her parents' house and I says, you could pay me $300, I'll dump it and I won't say anything else about it. Or you could do it yourself. Here's my trailer, here's all your garbage. So call me the next day, let me know what you're gonna do. Well, she never called me the next day. And so the next day I drove by her house to see what's up with the trailer and the trailer wasn't there. So then I had texted her or I called her. I said, hey, I come to get my trailer, find out what you're planning on doing. And she sends me a text saying the trailer was gone when I got home from school, this and that, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, you pay for the trailer.
What a mystery. The trailer's gone. How did the trailer become gone?
I honestly don't know.
You really don't know.
No, I don't have. My parents don't have.
You're like the one person who has, who is angry and has a motive, but you are not the person who took the trailer.
No, how
you
would
didn't
I
have the trailer taken?
No, no.
So if the apartment's illegal, can the tenant get back all the rent that the tenant paid?
Can the tenant get back?
Yeah, all the rent say it's a year. Can the tenant get back all the rent?
I'd say no.
Why?
Why? It's not really fair.
Well, why isn't it fair? Anybody? Why?
I got something. Well, it's like an analogy. If you get some food and then you find out that there's like a bug in it, then you get your money back because you're like, you know what, this food I wasn't paying for that, so I want my.
Yeah, but the apartment is still something you used for a year, say.
But it wasn't essentially what.
I hate your bug analogy. I hate it. Going inside the courtroom.
So you're suing her for the value of the trailer
$300.
that you left behind,
I let her
unattended,
borrow.
parked.
Yeah.
Do you have any evidence that she stole the trailer?
No,
or
I don't.
had somebody take it and keep it. And
No evidence. I just made a police report saying, the trailer's gone.
what's the value of the trailer?
$300.
The trailer. Do you have proof that the trailer cost $300?
No, it's just.
Do you have proof that the garbage cleanup cost $300?
Well, I have a receipt from a friend of mine who helped me do that, and then.
That charged you $300? Your friend charged you $300
Well, no, he charged
to
me.
pick up 20
He
garbage?
charged me $150, but I helped too. So.
Okay, let's go over a few things, folks. First, let's go over Ms. Moore's claim against her good friend, Mr. Sporlin. You do not get to sue when you are. Let me just say a few things. First of all, you know darn well you were renting an illegal apartment. It doesn't matter whether she knows, but I just want to make sure that you know that I know that you knew. Okay? But it doesn't matter because it's a little like this. Judge, I bought a kilo of cocaine from him, and when I tested, it wasn't great quality cocaine. So I want my money back, Judge, and make sure, since I didn't get the product I paid for, it's a breach of contract, Judge, and will you get him? Well, here's a surprise. Courts don't do that. Courts do not help people who are doing something that are illegal do it. Okay, whether it's a sale of cocaine or the rental of an illegal apartment. If you don't have a CO and you're not allowed to rent it, don't cry to me about everything that flows from a rental agreement that is unenforceable, such as late fees. All those things are things that flow from an illegal rental agreement that I will not help you with, okay? However, the courts also say, what are you kidding? You're not gonna be able to get back rent. What if it was 5 years? I've had cases where the tenants are suing for 5 years worth of rent. Literally 5 years worth of rent. That wouldn't be fair, right? That would be a little bonanza for you. So no, we do not allow tenants to do that either. Similarly, all of your portion of your lawsuit that talks about expenses for your new apartment are garbage. Except for one, the spoiled food issue. I find in your lawsuit against him, I'm going to award you the $200 for spoiled food. Because looking at that refrigerator, there's a lot of food in that refrigerator. So now let's talk about you. Garbage. I agree with you that she should have to pay for garbage. She can't leave all that stuff on the side of the house like that. That's her responsibility. What should she pay? $200. I think that's a fair fee to pay you for the garbage. I'd make her pay you for the missing trailer because I find it suspicious, but you have to have proof in court. So $200 on your suit against him, $200 on your suit against her, net judgment 0-0. Go home, folks. Nice meeting you.
So the apartment was illegal. It was an illegal, unenforceable rental agreement. What do you expect to come out with other than nothing?
Justice, but I don't feel like I got it.
Well, you also sued for the whole world there, trying to pad your claim and come out with the big payday.
I had a lot of receipts. I had estimates that I had done. I had talked with a lawyer, so I thought that things were going to go a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm. Are you still friends with his former girlfriend?
I haven't talked to her in a while.
Okay. All right. Head right around the corner, okay? All right. So here comes the big landlord. Did you learn a little bit about landlording here?
A little bit.
What did you learn about the laws?
The laws they can be tricky.
You can't turn off the power. You have to go through the legal system to evict somebody. Right?
I guess so.
Mm-hmm. Why'd you cut her so much slack? Because she was cute?
She's a friend of mine. No, she's a friend of mine, and we had a lot in common. Our daughters played together and stuff like that, and she needed help. Mm-hmm. And I was in a position that I could help her.
All right. So you come out with 200 and it's a wash with her. You satisfied?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And you got to see a roach.
Yeah, definitely. That was cool. And all the garbage on the street, man.
Okay. Harvey?
Laws differ from state to state, but in many states, the landlord who turns off electricity can be subject to punitive damages by the tenant. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.